Hello everybody, my name is Kyle. Thanks for stopping by to check out my video here on Arena Hacks. This is in my beginner's guide series, and in this series I've been teaching all the new players to Magic the Gathering Arena how to grow their collection on a budget, a lot of the tips and tricks and ways of getting free cards, free packs, and all kinds of stuff like this to boost your account, and ongoing tips and tricks for growing your account with MTG Arena. If you think any of that sounds really cool, please hit the subscribe button down in the bottom corner right where I am here. And also on this channel I love doing all kinds of other stuff, just from jank to control to all kinds of just whatever I'm doing in Magic the Gathering, and just share all kinds of my unique decks and deck builds like that. So once again, hit the subscribe if you think that's at all really cool. Today's video is actually not going to be really so much about growing your collection or anything like that. This is going to be more advice on just Arena and the program, and just if you're not familiar with it. I'll probably recap a few things that were taught to you in the tutorial by Sparky, but there's definitely going to be a few things that maybe you either missed or is just a little maybe more advanced for where you are at Magic the Gathering. If you've played MTG for a while, you know when you can play certain spells, but sometimes in the program, it's hard to tell the program, hey, stop, I want to play an instant spell here, but sometimes the program just goes. It's rare that it does that. It's pretty good at knowing when there's something you can do, and it'll wait for you to say, no, I don't want to do anything, or yes, I do, right? So it's usually pretty good, but there are little tricks and ways to make sure that mistakes don't happen, just because, you know, in paper, you just play the card, tap your mana, and say what you're doing, and you read the card and do what it says, right? In this digital stuff, it doesn't work that way. The program has to be designed in order to handle whatever it is we're doing and whatever it is we're playing. So I'm teaching you all little tips and tricks for in the gameplay, how you can help control the flow of the gameplay, make the game flow a little bit smoother in some cases, and just all kinds of neat stuff like that. Is it a count? I don't think it's in here. There's just something I want to show you here. So let's go gameplay. That's probably where it is. So one of the key things here is this whole tab. Now you can change this mid-game and everything too. For example, auto order triggers. This is a big thing for, like, sometimes certain effects are being triggered automatically at the beginning of combat, and it's putting +1/+1 counters on your creatures, right? But it's like, so like take Oran Reef Ooze, for example. When it attacks, all attacking creatures get a +1/+1 counter if they already have one or more counters on them, right? So if there's another thing like a Ranger class that's triggering technically at the same time, they don't resolve at the same time, right? So sometimes, it actually even tested that exact theory out, and the program's actually done it really well, and it actually detects that, and it's going to like, you're going to want the Ranger class to resolve first, putting a +1/+1 counter on a creature that maybe doesn't already have one, and then the Oran Reef Ooze will trigger, and all creatures that have one will get another one, right? But that one creature didn't have one, so you got your Ranger class to, you see how sometimes just the timing can be very important in this game and can very much make the difference whether you win or lose. So auto ordering triggers is something you might want to shut off if you're a little iffy. It's like, I definitely want this to trigger first, and I've seen some cases where the program won't organize them and have them resolved in the order that you want. And in the game of Magic the Gathering, you can choose what order they resolve in. So that's where shutting this off comes in handy if you need to do that. And you can pull up this menu mid-game. I'm pretty sure there's a gear in that. We'll look at that. I'll get into a game here just against Sparky, because I'm going to be talking a lot about things that we're clicking on. I'm not really even going to actually be playing much. So we're just going to go in a match against Sparky, the bot, and I'll tell you all these little things in here. So as for over here, you can see all these little hotkeys, I guess, for doing all kinds of stuff. I don't even use a lot of them. Quick tap, I'm not a press and hold Q. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Float all, I'll teach you what that one is. I know what that one does, and it's actually really neat and can sometimes be handy. Pass priority with the space bar, I use that like all the time. Undo with Z, that's comes in handy if you make a mistake. Sometimes when you make a decision and it's a mistake, it's too late. It's like you've already chosen to done that and you can't go back on it. But sometimes you can undo things with Z, or just there'll be a Z in the bottom corner. We'll look at that in the gameplay, and you can just click that. All kinds of other things: pass turn, pass until respawn, hold full control, show phases, and chat cycle. So some of these, the ones I don't use very often, I won't be going through with you. You guys can read these up here and just go and bot a game against the bot Sparky and go, what does quick tap mean? What does show collection overlay draft? Well, that's only for drafts, right? So you're in a draft and you press that button. I guess you can't do that against Sparky, but you can test, go in a bot match and then just push some of these buttons and see what happens. And that's actually how I learned to use the space bar. Really cool. And just recently looking at this exact screen here, I'm actually starting to learn that enter is a pretty good function too sometimes when you want things to go by a little more quickly and smoothly. So auto assign combat damage, that's usually with again, the computer usually does a really good job with doing that. That becomes an issue whether if there's like trample, there's a lot of trample damage in your deck and there's certain ways you want the damage to get divided, like with trample and death touch combined, you really want only 1 damage dealt to each creature, which you can do even if its toughness is way higher, because that 1 damage is enough to kill it with death touch. So you want 1 damage to each creature and the rest of the damage to go through to the opponent, and it just makes it really brutal. Stuff like that, but again, I already know that this program handles that exact situation, that exact example, it handles perfectly. It will do that. It will automatically just give 1 damage to each creature if it detects death touch. Show phases, you really want to have all that up. Show phases is right here with L, so you can change that mid-game with a hotkey. You just leave that on all the time. We'll get to that in the game, why you want to do that. Evergreen keyword reminders. Not sure what that is. I leave that on because show reminders for common keywords like flying, first strike, etc. Okay. So yeah, I'm guessing that's like the little symbol you see in the bottom of the corners of the cards, and I like that. Like it shows flying, it shows what they have. Sometimes you still have to hover and double check what other abilities they may have as well. Disable emotes, pretty straightforward what that does. Autoplay card styles, enable gameplay warnings. For some actions, for example, okay. So you might want to shut this off if you have something where you target your own creatures for stuff that you normally wouldn't, because that's when the game detects, hey, that's not, why are you trying to destroy your own creature? Are you sure you want to do that? And you have to say yes. Or if you're playing, like the example it gives here, if you play a duplicate legendary, it always asks you, are you sure you want to play that? Because you already have one, you have to choose one to die, right? So it's like, and you have to go yes or no, and if you say yes, fine, you play it then, now you got to choose one that goes in your graveyard. But yeah, so that's basically a quick rundown over here. The most important ones I would say is the auto triggers. You may be turning that on, and again, it depends on where you are in the game too. If you may not even worry about this because maybe you're running more simplistic decks because you're new to Magic the Gathering, and you don't need to worry about these complicated things like how the order of your triggers or full control and stuff like that. But at least you'll have seen this video, and you can even come back and review it if you get to that point in the future and you're like, oh, how did Kyle say you do that again? And you can just come back and watch this video and you'll see how that all gets done again. And you can just go into this menu here and just remind yourself what these hotkeys are just by coming here. So once again, let's go right out. That's just the gear up here, options, and you go gameplay. Simple, there it is. So we're gonna do a bot match here with a deck called Mono Green Black, a deck I did recently on this channel. I made a video of. Go check it out if you haven't already. It's a really, really cool deck. Such a beatdown. Oh, it's amazing. Anyways, yeah, let's just keep it's actually a terrible hand, but we're not doing that. So let's take a look around here. So if I play this land, we know there's nothing else I'm gonna be able to do. So it's just gonna, if you're used to it already, it's just gonna auto pass right through your turn, and your turn's gonna be over, right? Like that. So now if that was an untapped land, it would have done the same thing because we have nothing we can play for 1. So even if we play this and reveal this, it'll still just end the turn, right? Actually, no, we do have 2 mana option here, right? So if we play this and then we reveal this, here's something that's neat too. Here's what the space bar does. It says pass turn, but space bar, what it actually does is it activates this orange thing down here, which we have submit 0 right now. Right, so it's waiting for us to choose a forest or a swamp in our hand to reveal to make this untapped. So instead of clicking this and then going over and click submit 1, what you can do is you can just click this and hit spacebar, and it will do the submit 1 for you, right? So spacebar is always what this yellow bar is. So if we hit spacebar again, it goes to combat. If we hit spacebar again, it'll end turn. And it's waiting because we can cast this for 2 mana, and it detects that we can do that, which is why it keeps waiting now, unlike last turn, where it just raced through and ended it for us. Okay, so we let them go. I just hit spacebar there, right? So it's waiting for us. Spacebar again. It's just easy. It's just easier. I can have my mouse over here clicking things, and then instead of going all the way down to this bottom corner, as you noticed, I moved myself. I'm not normally where I am in the gameplay, but that's obviously so I can show you stuff like this. I don't normally have myself here because I block things up in the gameplay. That's kind of more important to the gameplay. You guys don't always need to see what I'm clicking down here in most of my videos. You can often see that if I click a stop like here, you can see that show up on my opponent. So when I remove it, it goes away, it comes over to mine, right? It cycles like that. So you can see that stuff over here and over here during the gameplay. So that L hotkey we were looking at, show phases, that's exactly what these are here that I was just showing you. So if I hit L, they kind of disappear. This is because we're in combat, so it's just showing us the different phases of combat. So if we go pass, Sparky's probably going to attack in. So here we can go space 2. It usually doesn't work for the blue button, but here for some reason in combat we can actually go space and it works. Space again, yeah, and it just hits space bar there. And I hit space bar again here for my turn. But before I do that, I'm going to hit L again to show how it all comes back again. So they always show the combat things here, but when you push L, that comes there. I suggest don't even remember that. Just leave those there. You should always want to have these there. If you want to put a stop on combat, normally when we're going through phases here, so this is your upkeep, main phase, combat shows this, your avatar is basically this symbol here. And you can't click on your avatar to put a stop because then your emotes come up and it's like, well, that's not what we want. We want to put a stop on combat. So you go like that, and that's going to put a stop on our next combat because it's orange. Orange is us, blue is your opponent. So that's on our opponent's next combat. So we're going to go like that. So there's a stop on our next combat. So if we hit next, I'm just going to push it down here. Now it's waiting. We have no creatures to attack. We have nothing to do. We have an instant speed here. Okay. So this is a bad time. Let's get rid of this thing because it's going to keep bugging us about that. So let's just go like this because I don't want to have anything in my hand that I can cast right now. So when it would normally just race forward. So as soon as I play this, it's just going to end our turn because it's going to come into play tapped and there's nothing we can do. So if I go over here and I can put a stop at the end of our turn. I can remove it by clicking, or I can go over here and click there and put a stop at the end of our turn. So as soon as I play this, it's going to go to our end step automatically, but then it's going to wait right now. Normally it would just end our turn and go to our opponent's turn, but now we can do that. And sometimes people will do stuff like they'll go here, right? I'll put in a stop at my opponent's upkeep. You can see the blue thing came down here, so we can actually do it here as well. Sometimes you'll click it, it'll go orange first, and if you click it again, it'll go blue, which then goes to your opponent. That only is really necessary if you're trying to put a stop on your opponent's attack phase. Because you need to use this here. You can't click their avatar or it's the mute or unmute. Let's just mute Sparky right now so she doesn't keep talking. Where was I? So yeah, so this is our end of turn. It's just sitting here as long as we want, and not until I hit pass or hit spacebar will it actually go on then. And we had nothing to do. There was no instant. There was no mana to do anything, right? It was waiting just because we said wait. So we'll play a land here. So another thing here is onto hotkeys. Let's go control for full control. All right. So now when we go to cast a spell, sure, I guess let's see. I do the wolf, and it stopped. Normally you just drag it and it would just pay the 2 mana, and that would be it. But now it's like, oh, full control. So now I have to auto tap my mana. Which mana do I want to use for it? Or I can just go autoplay and click it here or hit spacebar. Normally you just click, it would be done already, and now we're waiting. The spells on the stack is what I like to interrupt my own spell with something. Sometimes you do want to do that. Those are usually more advanced decks, which is why this is kind of where, if you're at this level in your gameplay, your Magic the Gathering gameplay, this video will be a lot more useful to you learning all this neat stuff you can do. So full control is still on. It's not until this phase is over that full control automatically comes off. So if I hit spacebar to go next, full control should be off now, although it is waiting for us still. Probably one more click. So now we can't attack. It should just race right through the end of our turn, and it did. I didn't do anything. right? So there was one last little wait there at the beginning of our combat, and I think that was because of the full control. But notice how it ended. As soon as the phase ended, no more full control, our entire turn just ended, right like that. Right, so now Sparky's doing a bunch of stuff. Let's put a stop at the end of her turn just so it doesn't go right. Normally, that wasn't right. There was a stop at the end of her turn. It should have waited. We should have said, okay, take our turn. I absolutely had that stop in before her turn ended. That was a little weird. I think that was not right. Huh. Well, let's play Toski. We can't play anything else. Our turn will just end automatically. Let's put another stop there. Let's see if this one works. That was weird last time. Okay, yeah, so now it's waiting, and there's literally nothing we can do, but it's waiting because we had to stop. That was weird. It missed our stop. That was... I'm pretty sure I got it in soon enough. I clicked it soon enough. I don't know. So we put a stop. Now we go, my turn. That stop goes away, but now it's sitting. We untap, and then we wait to draw. This is almost like full control as well, right? See how it's working like full control? We put a stop on our time, on our upkeep phase. And so now this entire phase, it's asking us literally everything. You want to do this now. Now do you want to do this? Now we go to main. Now we can actually cast sorcery spells and creatures and stuff like that. So that was full control. That was the control button on your keyboard, full control. I'm pretty sure you can change that in the gameplay settings. So you have that up here. Gameplay, just like the main menu. Full control, auto assign. I don't know if there is actually a full control. I don't think they have that on there because then some people turn it off and then it just makes the game take really long. So here, let's play one of these things. So in our next upkeep, oh, I have full control. Why is it asking me? Yeah, because I have full control. Let's take that off. So I just hit control again and it goes off. Let's kill something here. And so yeah, now it automatically goes through phases and stuff like that. So here's another neat little trick. So we're in combat now. And if you notice, look which one is the yellow or orange button, I mean. Orangish, reddish button, fiery button. It's all attack. So if you go to all, like that's why I don't like why they call spacebar pass, because it doesn't really necessarily pass, especially here. If I just hit spacebar, Toski attack, I just hit spacebar a bunch of times. It just declared attacker. If we had multiple creatures, all of them would be attacking if you just hit spacebar like that. Right, so now we're at the end of the turn. I'm going to show you how I use spacebar now to do things a little faster. So when our binding goes off, we're going to search. Right, so I'm going to use the scroll wheel on the mouse, click one. Instead of going down here to click confirm, or down here actually, I just click. Oh no, wait, it doesn't give us the submit one. That was a bad example. All right, dang. Oh, that was a bad example. Okay, but we can go here. We'll use the learn as an example. So we go learn, we access a sideboard. Okay, we just click one and it goes right to our hand right away. Never mind, I thought it would click and then submit one, and I could show you the space bar. It's better for sacrificing. If I'm casting, say, a Deadly Dispute or a Village Rites, something instant speed where I sacrifice my creature, I can cast it, and then, all right, and then it goes select which creature you'd like to sacrifice. You select, and then you have to go way down here to submit one, right? So you just select it and hit spacebar. You don't even move your cursor. It's still up on the creature you want to sacrifice. You select it, hit spacebar, and it sacrifices the creature just like that. And it makes gameplay really smooth, really fast, go, go, go kind of thing, right? So here we have two creatures. I'm just going to hit spacebar a bunch of times. Spacebar, we go to combat, spacebar, 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 right? Be careful with the spacebar if you use it that much, because sometimes you'll attack with creatures you don't want to attack with. So always be aware of that. Another neat little trick here is when you want to see how much mana you have, you can double tap Q. Tap, tap, kind of like a double click. And look what it did. It just tapped all our mana, and you can see all of it in here. 2, 4 black, 4 green, 8 mana total, right? If you have, actually I should shut this overlay off. I'm going to shut off Assistant just to show you the game and not any kind of extra overlays as well. And you have this. Now you can either click undo, or we can just do that again, or you can hit. You can click it with the mouse, which is what I did, or you can just hit Z and it undoes it all like that. A good way if you want to count, oh, let's say we were able to activate this, then we go double tap, right? It goes, oh, that's all your mana. you have to remember if it does tap this for mana, you go, oh, well, that's a mana in there too, but we can't use that one. And then we have 1 green and so many else to pay X, right? Sometimes it helps with stuff like that or whatever. There was a push and hold queue. That's what I'm doing. I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. See, I've never tried that before, so I'm learning something new too. Here, so if you push and hold Q, yeah, you see how it changed there, everything? If I let go, the lands aren't highlighted now. My hand is highlighted. Just the cards I can play. If I push and hold Q, it'll take a second, but then all of a sudden, boop, there we go. All these highlighted. So which one do I want? Let's tap this one, and this one. And as soon as I let go of Q, it all gets added to my mana. Just the ones I tap get added to my mana pool. And then I can hit Z for undo. And there we go. Pretty cool, right? Anything else I'm missing? So I've already explained a lot of these things here. Yeah, let's just play some creatures. Yeah, we got a game going with Sparky. Let's just get some stuff going here. And then spacebar for end turn, and away we go. So I told you about the auto triggers. I told you about the spacebar and hotkeys and all that stuff. Let's hit enter, and then if you see that auto passing down there, when I hit enter, it did that down here. So there's lots of neat things you can do. If you want to trick your opponent into thinking you have some kind of instant speed interaction, you might just go like this, right? And then when you end your turn, so we pass and end our turn, right? Toski has to attack, whatever. So end our turn, whatever. Pass and end, right? So here it is. Now it's at their upkeep and it's waiting, and we'll go, yeah, pass. So now I'm using spacebar, and notice how the button's blue down here, and I'm actually able to use spacebar to keep passing, right? So play around with the spacebar, learn how it works, what you can do, all this stuff. All right, oh, we're going for here, so that's spacebar, let it go. Nothing we can do about it. At least they both died. Sparky's always dumb with those targets for that. She should have either went for Pack Hunter or Troll. Pack Hunter I would have boosted like this, and then it would have traded with their Endirk. And see how it's like, because we have all these stops on, everything, it's just pausing for everything for us. Not just because we can do this again, which literally does nothing. Yeah, right? But it's just because we have all these stops set up. So yeah, I've taught you how most of the hotkeys that I use, I don't often double tap Q that much. There's cases, I usually use it and it helps me count my mana, and then I just undo and then go back and go, okay, maybe I have enough for this, maybe I don't, whatever. And by this point, you probably already know how to play spells, and so you just click and drag them to the middle of the screen, stuff like that. I'm trying to go through things you may not already know. I think that about sums it up. Let's just go for a big attack here. Yeah, all I did was hit spacebar, spacebar, spacebar. Right, just here we go again, go, go, go. I'm gonna hit enter now, and if you saw that down here, it just appeared, right? It pops up. Oh, I don't care, whatever. Let's just discard stuff. Oh, how many? 2. Yeah, whatever. I want to do something, yeah, I need something to sacrifice, right? So spacebar, right? Because that really shows how fast you can be. Sometimes with the snarls, I did a good example where you play one, click, and then hit space, and it's just like boom, boom, boom. Where you see people play a snarl, and then the game kind of pauses for a bit, and then all of a sudden you see up here, there's like, oh, this is the card revealed, and it's just so slow, and with me sometimes it's just like boom, 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 and it's all done so fast. Pass, yeah. So yeah, that's about it. Full control, making sure you can sequence things properly. Spacebar, kind of like the pass, the enter for the pass your whole turn. Enter again, shuts it off, just like that. Right, so lots of neat little tricks. I'm just saying spacebar again, spacebar, 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 pass everything through. Yeah, oh, let's just cast this. See, I don't have control on it, just the game detected that I had an instant. And it still detects that I have some. I'm, you know, maybe want to cast them. I don't. That's game. Very good deck. I mean, Sparky's not that great anyway, so I was barely paying attention to that whole game or playing properly. It was still won. But that's Sparky. Anyways, so I think that about wraps up the video. I mean, I just wanted to do gameplay and showed you guys how to, you know, read those hotkey lists there that's in the gameplay settings, Practice a bit with that space bar. Be very careful, like I said, with that space bar. I have made so many misplays by thinking, oh, pass, pass, pass. Oh no, I just attacked with everybody. Oh, it's too late because I just hit space bar so many times. So be very careful. If you're going to use the space bar to make your turns go faster and smoother, be very careful you don't make misplays like that and tell the program that you want to do stuff that you don't actually want to do. I've definitely had problems like that, so be very careful with that. The rest of the stuff is just neat little tricks and things you can do. And again, a lot of the stops and how to sequence things properly, that's when you're getting better at Magic the Gathering and you're playing instant speed spells and trying to set more complicated synergy and combos and stuff like that. So hit the thumbs up if any of you guys like this video. And subscribe if you like it. I got all kinds of other stuff on this channel. So stick around and I'll see you at the next video. Cheers.